Well, guess who didn't get what they wanted in the main event?
I forgot what it was Edge versus Christian, or it was Adam Copeland versus Christian Cage.
You were right the first time. Edge versus Christian in an I Quit match. And I didn't get what I wanted because I foolishly thought that since these guys are not only both 50 years old, but they're also pros and they can work and they've got unlimited experience with each other. And I'm thinking we might see Tully and Magnum level type athleticism and aggression and I quittishness here in this thing. And we saw every indie garbage match that they put on this program with everybody else in it, whether they can work or not. So they rang the bell with 20 minutes left on the air and they still couldn't get it in. So spoiler alert, my DVR froze, but it was at a perfect moment, which I'll get to in a second.
Oh God, I wish you could have seen the finish of this match. Now it's killing me. You got to see the finish.
No, I don't
have to see the finish.
I don't want to. Oh, I don't want to. Because again, I've had respect and admiration for these young fellows. I was there when they had their tryout match, watching the monitor, and JR was trying to kayfabe our level of interest from Carl DeMarco so he wouldn't ask for more money for him. But they started hot with a fight in the ring, and Edge was aggressive, and the people were with it. And within 30 seconds, they'd gone into the back of the arena, and Edge pulled a hockey jersey off some fucking guy, which I assume they were friends since they're in Toronto, and then gave it basically to Christian. He put it over his head, and Christian starts putting it on. He started putting his arm in the fucking deal.
Yeah, why did he do that?
He said, well, the guy you're in a fight with has just offered you free clothing. So naturally, you put it on.
That's a first. I've never seen that before.
Every time that the motherfucker kicking your ass offers you a cardigan, put that son of a bitch on. And then Edge got somebody else's jersey and put it on, and they had a hockey fight. And I'm not familiar with the teams, but I'm pretty sure it was very apropos teams to have a fight too. And then they started walk fighting up into the stands, and they went to break. And they came back from break, and Edge was pulling out a ladder from underneath the ring, but it wasn't long enough for him to go from the apron of the ring to the railing. So he had to go from the railing to the announce desk, and they made a bridge where they could fight on that. And then I just wrote, now the ladder's in the ring. Now they're back on the floor. Edge pulls out a table, but gets posted and gets color. They broke a table. Ladder stunts. Another break. I was so disappointed that they couldn't even give us a little something requiring some wrestling talent before they went to the movie stuntman version that these fucking people that like AEW want to see these days, because they're capable of it. So few of the other individuals on the roster are, that I was kind of zoning out. They came back from the other break. Edge boomeranged Christian off the stage. Then they fought in a hockey goal in the back of the arena. And then conveniently, Nick Plain's mother appeared and hit Edge in the nuts with a hockey stick. And Christian then broke it over Edge and got another stick and wore him out with it. And then he pulled out 2 chairs, did Christian, and then a chair wrapped in barbed wire and held it up over his head. And thankfully, at that moment, my DVR froze and I didn't have to fucking see them do every fucking same thing that every other Tom's hairy dick does with barbed wire and fucking thumbtacks. What'd I miss anyway?
Well, I missed a little bit, but I caught the ending. And I, to be honest, in a matter of full disclosure, I got really fucking high. I smoked a bunch of weed. And I came back in to enjoy this with my brother. I'm not incriminating him in any way. And I don't know what to call it. Adam Copeland had a board with spikes on it, like at the end. Again, if there's a name for it, I apologize for not knowing it, but just a board with spikes on it. And he went up to Christian and bashed him in the balls with it while he was hung up in the corner. While Nick, see, I don't know exactly what happened.
He
Nick,
drove a spiked board into Christian's balls.
That's what it looked like from the camera angle. And at that time, too, Mama Wayne and Nick Wayne and Killswitch were all destabilized. I guess destabilized, right? What would they be? Not stabilized.
Well, no. If they're destabilized, they'd be bouncing off the walls all over the place and about to burst into flames. But if they're stabilized, that means they're in one place and not a threat to anyone.
They've been stabilized, and I don't know exactly how Nick Wayne was stabilized.
You might want to go for neutralized.
Neutralized, there it is. And we've got the neutron bomb, ladies and gentlemen. But they've been neutralized, and Christian gets it in the balls, and then Adam Copeland pulls away the spike that hit him in the balls, and he goes, he's going to hit him over the head with it, and Christian gives up.
Wait a minute. He was still fucking conscious enough after he got hit with a spike from a board in the balls to fucking worry about getting hit in the head? I mean, when he pulled the spike out of Christian's balls, was there a spurt of blood, a geyser, a fountain, a plethora, an inundation, a downpour?
No, there wasn't a bunch of ball blood. Although when he said I quit, he said, I quit.
Oh, well, that's at least he punctured one then.
New TNT champion, second time as champion, the first time lasted minutes, Adam Copeland.
So there were 2 title changes on this one program. Well, that's just historic, except for the last time that it happened.
And then the other thing is, your DVR cut off. Early in the show, Excalibur, who I must say is just frighteningly mediocre. He's so bad. And so many of the problems AEW has, the problems are that the commentators aren't good at communicating to a big audience.
The lead commentator speaks to the most nerdiest of the know-it-all Twitter audience instead of the main population.
So the mediocre Excalibur early in the show says, we've got an extra hour tonight. I'm like, what? Is there a third hour of Dynamite? No. Rampage aired immediately live right after Dynamite.
Well, I heard about this after the fact.
So there were a few matches. As soon as I saw what was on the show, it immediately turned into Rampage. Even though it was right after Dynamite, like the milieu of the joint, it immediately turned into Rampage. And they lost me, and I didn't get to see it. I got to see if my DVR recorded it. The main event, a street fight, Willow Nightingale and Chris Statlander versus Sky Blue and Julia Hart.
Not only in the same building and not technically in the same show, but in the same block of programming.
In the same hour, technically.
And technically in the same hours, the finish of Edge and Christian, 2 of the more prominent names in wrestling over, the last number of years, have a garbage indie match, but okay. And then they have a garbage indie match with girls by the time that hour is up. What the... Tony again needs a change in medication, or he needs his winds to change direction, or whatever the fuck is going on. Because he's going to burn through everybody. There's not enough wrestlers to buy. He's burying them faster than they can grow them.